I come upon you this pre-Halloween weekend to tell you a tale of a time-traveling spirit named Marcus, who found himself lost in different dimensions, unable to find his way back to the realm of the living. His one objective was to find Angelina, his lost love, who had been taken away from him on Halloween night. It is said that the veil between the living and the dead is thinnest on All Hallows Eve, and anything could happen. He had high hopes of finding her. Unfortunately, what happened was tragic. As Marcus traveled through time, he had encountered different supernatural beings and entities, all with their own agendas and desires. Some were helpful, while others were malicious and power-hungry. He had to maneuver through each world carefully, making sure not to fall into any traps or suffer any harm. This was how he had spent the year, day after day, waiting. In the heart of a bustling park, on this crisp autumn Halloween night, Marcus fell to earth. He landed with a muted thud, hidden from view by a large oak tree. The park was filled with trick-or-treaters, their costumes a kaleidoscope of color in the fading light, their laughter and excited voices carrying in the wind. The spirit of Marcus stood up and brushed himself off. He was dressed in a ratty dark robe, his hair disheveled and full of leaves. He took in the area in slight confusion, his eyes adjusting to the new surroundings. He took a step forward and emerged from behind the stately oak. A rambunctious group of trick-or-treaters stopped in their tracks, staring at him in amazement. He was unlike anyone they had ever seen before. "What is that?" one of the children whispered. "This is why Mom said don't climb trees in the dark," exclaimed the other. Marcus turned and smiled at the children. He could sense their innocence and wonder. He raised a hand slowly in a gesture of peace. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I'm here looking for someone special." And they drew back slightly in unison, being too scared to move away completely. Marcus sighed heavily. He knew that he would have to earn their trust. He needed to know what they had seen in their travels. He needed to explore their memories. He closed his eyes and concentrated. When he opened them again, he was glowing with a soft golden light and emitting a haunting tone that caught their ears. The children gasped in awe. They had never seen anything so beautiful or heard anything quite so enchanting. They became curious and somewhat accepting of this unusual being. Stepping forward, Marcus held out his hand to the nearest child. The boy hesitated for a moment, then took the hand. The Marcus spirit smiled and gently hummed while gazing into the boy's eyes, searching his memories of all he'd seen, hoping for a glimpse of Angelina. This procedure continued, one child after the other, until finally, in the memories of a little brunette pig-tailed girl, he saw her, Angelina, by the lake, on the north side of this very park. In the child's memory, she was facing the lake, on the shore moving towards the water. The leaves were blowing just like here, and he could hear the laughter and voices of the trick-or-treaters. This memory was of tonight. He looked towards the north side of the park. He didn't see a lake, but from the child's memory he knew it was there, and he started to walk, long hurried strides towards the area he hoped was the lake's bank. Finally he heard the lapping of small waves against the shore. He was there, and now here she was, standing on the bank of the lake, his dear love Angelina, her feet dipping into the water. Her long locks were flowing in the breeze, and he reached towards her with his mind and felt her torment, her exhaustion. Marcus approached Angelina slowly, his heart pounding in his chest. He could feel her sadness and her despair. He slowly reached out his hand to her, but she didn't see or hear him. She was lost in her own thoughts. "Angelina," he whispered. "It's me, love. Marcus, I'm here." Angelina didn't respond. He received no acknowledgement. Her eyes fixed on the opposite bank. Suddenly, he heard her soft melodic voice talking to herself, and he strained to catch the words on the wind. "I have been foolish too long," she spoke to the air. "I thought I could escape death and find Marcus again, that we could find each other somehow. But I was so very wrong. I must accept my end. You can never deny fate." "Angelina, please," Marcus begged. "Don't do this." And he reached out to her, but she slipped through his fingers. She was fading away, disappearing into the lake, and in the next moment, she was gone. It was then that everything became clear to Marcus. Angelina and he were indeed both dead. They had both died on Halloween night, in a tragic accident in this very park, as an out-of-control bus jumped the path and into the crowd that were enjoying the costume party festivities. Their spirits had been wandering ever since. The world they were in was not a supernatural realm or an alternate dimension. It was the afterlife. This ironic twist was not lost on Marcus. Angelina had been dead all along, and all his journeys through time and space were futile. The supernatural beings he encountered were just figments of his imagination, memories from a life that had ended. Angelina was trapped in a similar cycle, wanting the searching to end. She walks forever into the deep lake, giving herself back to nature, wanting to only stop walking this earthly plane, accepting her fate. But in the end, this didn't matter, thought Marcus. He had found her again, and yet still they remain apart forever. He had only the past, no future. In that moment, Marcus realized the true meaning of love. It wasn't about escaping death or finding a way to be together forever. It was about cherishing the time they had and honoring that love. And now, in this way, he acknowledged they were both freed, although no longer together, nor alive. The end.